Hello, my word wizards. Today is going to be a magical day where you take a journey and you learn from the grand wizard himself. And you will be learning about all of the different ways that we can enjoy expanding our vocabulary and learning about new words. So, boys and girls, it is time that you learn how to be a word wizard. There are two simple steps to becoming a word wizard. And if you go down in your slides, you'll see step one, find your words hiding in anything you read. These wow wizard words can be words in a text message or words you see on a sign, or especially my favorite, words you find in a book you pick up and enjoy. The second step to becoming a successful word wizard is to use your magic to find out what they mean or explain why you chose them meaning the words. So let's take a closer look. For step one, as you're reading, today we will be reading Babushka's Doll. And I want you to think about, as I read, what are some words that you think are funny? They make you laugh, just sound silly. Weird, like totally out there words that maybe you have no idea what they're saying. Crazy, maybe it's a sound word that really helps you figure out what happened at that exact time in the story. Or maybe it's the perfect word at the perfect point in the story, and it explains exactly how the characters are feeling. But my favorite are wow words that make you sound smart. These also might be the words that you just aren't familiar with, or you had to stop when you were reading to figure out how to read them. But no matter what you do, you need to find either Post-its or a notebook or piece of paper. And I want you to keep this piece of paper or all these Post-its and write down every time you open up a great book. I want you to write down any of these words that you think are funny, weird, crazy, perfect, or just wow words. And great word wizards then have these words to help them, and you're expanding your vocabulary. So, boys and girls, today I'm going to model for you how we do that. As I model, I'm going to show you how I would use my context clues to figure out the words and how I pick just the right words. Don't forget, in step two, there are lots of ways for you to figure out words that you don't know the meaning to. You can use a dictionary. You can ask an adult, me, your parents. You can use your context clues, which is what I'm going to show you and model, and we'll be talking about it more tomorrow together in our Tuesday class. You could even look up online going to Kiddle and type in, what does this word mean? And you put your word in there. So all these great strategies for you are available. Right now, you are watching this video. And when I'm done reading, I want you guys to use the highlighter, which is if you click on, and this is when the real magic happens, you have to click on the writing, then the highlighter will appear. Okay, so click on the writing and then the highlighter will appear. So you click on the highlighter and I want you to highlight any wow words, any word wizard words that you find. That's the first step. Then, boys and girls, after we've done it together and you've seen how I do it and you've practiced on your own finding some words that you thought were interesting, it is time for you to really, truly practice your magic. And what you're going to do is set the timer. You can click on this timer and set it. Then you're going to start reading for 20 minutes. And as you're reading, with either a Post-it, if you have any, or a piece of paper. And as you're reading, I want you to list out all of these words that you thought were interesting. Your next job is to share at least 3 words that you found when you were being a word wizard. And I'm going to ask you to pick one word, just one of those words. And I want you to use your context clues to figure out what it means. So, boys and girls, without further ado, let's read Babushka's Doll, which is a very magical book written by my favorite author, Patricia Polacco, and I think you're going to enjoy listening to her too later this week. All right, Babushka's Doll by Patricia Polacco. I want to show you something special as we get started. Do you see what this is? This is an autographed book by the author herself, to Bethany Cool. That's me. I told you she's one of my favorite. Okay. So here we go. It wasn't that Natasha, was a truly naughty child. She just never understood why she had to wait for things. Now, boys and girls, I already see a word that I really like, and that word is naughty. So I'm going to take my Post-it, and I'm going to write down naughty. I just think that's the perfect word at the perfect time, and it really shows me that Natasha was trying not to be naughty or bad. Babushka, Natasha said. For in Russian, babushka means grandmother. Please stop doing the laundry and push me in the swing. My darling child, Babushka said. I have to do the laundry first. Would you like to help me? No, said Natasha. I want to swing now. Okay, so I know this word isn't a new word, but I think it's a powerful word in this story. Now. I feel like she's constantly like, now. I'm sure you can make a great text-to-self connection with that. Maybe you've asked your parents to do something now, or it felt like forever that you had to wait, right? So there she is, hanging up the laundry. And look what she's doing. She's pulling her skirt. Ugh. Aren't you finished yet? I want to go for a ride in the goat cart. My precious, Babushka said, I must hang up these thick clothes while the sun is shining. But the sun will be shining all day. I want to go now, Babushka. Take me. I love the word precious. I heard the word precious there. That means like, you are so special to me. You are precious. So I'm going to write that word down. Nice. Babushka went to feed the goats. Natasha followed. But I'm hungry too, Babushka. My stomach is making noises. I want to eat now. Don't be selfish, darling, said Babushka. These poor creatures need to be fed. They cannot fix their own lunch. Look at how she's feeling. Have you ever felt that way? I don't see any words on this page that stood out. Oh, but maybe the word creatures right here. That might have been a tricky word for me to read. So could I write that down? Absolutely. So I'm going to write down creatures on my Post-it. Now I'm going to read the words. I want you to take a look at the pictures. It's pretty interesting. And I'll show you the other side. Now, I am finished, said Babushka, and now we will have lunch. She took the kettle down from the high shelf. Natasha looked up on the shelf where the kettle had been. And there, right next to it, was a little doll that she had never seen before. Is that your doll, Babushka? She asked. Yes, dear. It was my doll when I was a little girl like you. Did you play with her all the time? asked Natasha. No, my dear. I played with her only once. Here I want to write down the word once because I don't know about you, but I'm wondering why she only played with the doll once. That's interesting. Why only once? Oh, by the way, do you think babushka is a weird sound? Maybe because it's from Russia. Maybe you've never heard that. Could you write babushka down? Absolutely. Now we get into the magic. Look at babushka. I have finished my soup now, said Natasha. May I hold the little doll just for a little while? Babushka got the doll down from the high shelf. Yes, it is just the right time for you to play with her, said Babushka. She handed the doll to Natasha. I am going to the store for groceries, she said. You may play with the doll until I get back. Oh, how exciting for her. Uh-oh. Look at how Natasha's reacting to the doll. As soon as the door closed behind Natasha's grandmother, something happened. The little doll began to move. She jumped to her feet and did a little dance, and for a moment Natasha was a bit frightened. But then the doll called, Come on, Tasha, let's go out and play. Yeah. Uh-huh. You saw that word too, right? You heard that word. I'm going to write down frightened because that's just the right word to explain just the right feeling that Natasha's having. I think I'd be frightened too if I saw a doll that got up and walked. But Natasha, being bored, was like, okay, let's do this. So she goes running. Natasha and the doll ran and ran until Natasha could run no more. As soon as Natasha sat down to catch her breath, the doll said, Get up, Tasha. You get up now. I want to play. Oh, boy. I'll swing you on the swing, said Natasha said. Whee! The doll squealed. Push harder. I want to go higher. Oh, boys and girls, I gotta write down that squealed. That is just it explains it perfectly how she said it. I love that word. Natasha pulled the doll higher and higher, but soon she grew tired. Don't stop, Tasha, cried the doll. Don't stop. I want you to swing me higher. Now take a look at the doll's face and Natasha's face. Look familiar? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Yep. She's getting a taste of her own medicine, isn't she? I'll take you for a ride in the goat cart, Natasha said. Oh, goody, Tasha, the doll chirped. Yep, you got it. Chirped is just the right word for how she said it. I'm going to write that down. Reminds me of a bird. And don't you slow down. You better keep going as long as I want. Do you hear me? As long as I want. Look at the dog. Oh my goodness. Soon Natasha couldn't lead the goat cart any longer. I have to stop, said Natasha. I need to rest. Now I want to eat, said the doll. Poor Natasha was very tired. She tried, but she tried to do her best to make lunch. Woo, there we go. I'm going to write down the word tired because it explains the perfect word for how she's feeling now. Look at her. Poor Natasha. I wonder, do you think Grandma was tired too when Natasha was asking her to do things? Oh no! Babushka's doll spilled the tea. She sloshed the soup from her spoon, and she flung noodles over her head. Then she pounded her fist in the mess and laughed and laughed. Now, boys and girls, when I'm done reading on the next slide below, you will see that sentence right here. She sloshed the soup from her spoon and she flung the noodles over her head. Then she pounded her fist in the mess and laughed and laughed. I want you to highlight any words that you thought were wow words. Suddenly, she stopped laughing and started to scream. My dress, Tasha, it's all dirty. I want you to wash it. You wash it right now. Natasha washed the little dress and hung it on the line. Then she ironed it and put it on the doll. See her ironing? I know that's a little screen, boys and girls, but I think you can see it. Okay. You didn't do it right, said the doll. My dress is all wrinkled. Natasha began to cry. I'm just a little girl, she said between sobs. I wish you were just a doll. I like that word sobs. You know what I mean? And sobs. She's crying. She's sobbing. It's not just a, it's, oh no, look, just perfect timing, boys and girls. Perfect timing. Here comes Babushka. My darling, a voice called out. Why are you crying, my precious child? Oh, I have that word precious already written down. Babushka, sobbed Natalie, your little doll came to life and she was very naughty. Huh, I've got that word too. All she wanted me to do was work. She never let me rest. She made me iron her dress and I don't even know how. I'm just a little girl. Oh, there, Babushka said. You must have had a bad dream. Huh. Maybe, said Natasha. Her grandmother smiled and held Natasha closer. From now on, you can play with the little doll anytime you want. No, thank you, Babushka, Natalie said. Once is enough. Hey, I have that word once written down too. Babushka picked up the little doll and put her back on the high shelf. It looks like you had quite a day, she said softly. The little doll gave Babushka a wink and went back to being just a doll. And Natasha turned out to be quite nice after all. Yay! So again, boys and girls, look at all these great wow words that I wrote down while reading Babushka's doll. So remember, you can write it on a Post-it or you can have just a blank piece of paper, but make sure it's in a place where you can keep this for a long time, because maybe when we're writing or maybe when we're reading and we come across these words again, it's going to mean something very, very special. Okay, and I know by you guys seeing it only in my top corner picture right here, I know it was a little smaller, but I wanted to make sure that I could show you just the right steps at just the right time. So, boys and girls, I want you guys now to look below on slide 6. So it says right here, and I want you to highlight any words that you found to be interesting in these two different sections of the book. Okay. No rhyme or reason. You guys can have all different words. I just want to see what speaks to you as a word wizard. After you've done that, I want you to set our timer. And I want you to find a book to read. Maybe it's a book online that you read to yourself, or maybe it's a paper book that you have at home. Set the timer, read for 20 minutes, and have that Post-it or piece of paper handy so that you too can write some wow words down. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going to say, but Mrs. Cool, I didn't find any wow words. Then I need you to ask yourself, is that a truly good fit book if you don't find at least 3 words that you can write down? No, it's not. So try to find a book that's a good fit book. So that's good practice as well. When you find after you read and you find all of your words, I want you to pick 3 of your favorites and write those: word 1, word 2, word 3. Okay. And then pick one of these 3 words and tell me, what word did you choose? So you're going to type it in this box. And what does this word mean to you? So maybe you picked chirped, and you know what chirped means, but you're going to explain to me why you picked chirped. Maybe because it made it so easy for you to hear the way the doll talked to Natasha. Like, why did you pick that? And you can always go back to these slides for the reasons that you pick words. Maybe that word chirped was funny. Maybe it was weird, crazy, perfect, or maybe it was a brand new word that you learned how to read. So you can also explain why you chose that word here, or what does this word mean to you, right? So if you don't know what it means, then I want you to use your context clues and think about what you think that word means. And if you did already know what it meant, maybe explain to me why you chose that word. Okay? All right, boys and girls, you did a great job, and I cannot wait to meet with you guys tomorrow. Happy reading, and please bring your Word Wizard words with us tomorrow so that we can talk about all of the great things you've read.